can too. Okay, how are we going to do this?
You sit down.
I'm going to sit down first, am I? Right, okay. Right, are we in view in both of them? We're definitely in view in that one. This is the main one we're going to be recording on.
And that one.
Yeah, and the 4K camera there is going to be. There's a standby, okay? Right, so, hello YouTube channel. It is I. I'm not going to introduce myself, I'm just saying it's I. And this is her. And this is the most wonderful girl in the world, Emily Jade Murphy. I am the proudest father in the world. The father of this gorgeous girl. Most wonderful, kindest, biggest, deepest, heartedest person, intelligent, funny, considerate, empathic, etc, etc, etc.
Hi.
And I'm going to be reading Emily and Bill, Magic Unicorn, Meet Pirate Pete, or I will asphyxiate, one of the two. Talk amongst yourselves if I go blue. Right, okay. You could read it really if you wanted to. No? Okay. And is it National Book Day today or tomorrow or Monday? When is it?
You just said it today in the shop.
It is today. Well, I saw they were advertising it today. I didn't know it was National Book Day. But anyway, so we're recording this on National Book Day 20...
You don't know if it's National Book Day?
I don't know. Okay. Somewhere in the approximate vicinity of National Book Day 2022. I should... What's the date today? 19th, isn't it?
It's Saturday.
It's Saturday. Okay, it's Saturday, folks, as we're recording this. Emily was 8 years old just 6 days ago. Right, Emily and Bill meet Pirate Pete. Okay. Boy, tough crowd. Hey, 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 hey. Would you do that in the library?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think you would push it too nice.
Why?
So, right, I've forgotten what cadence this one is in. It's in a different cadence, I think, in the Emily and Bill anthology. Emily and Bill meet Pirate Pete. 2, 3. What key shall I read it in? Once upon a time, there was a unicorn named Bill. If you don't know his story yet, well, very soon you will. He once had gotten lost, you see, and could not find his way back home. But then he met young Emily, who found the land from where he'd roamed. Bill's mum was oh so grateful that a wondrous gift she gave. A magic carpet, just like Bill's, that Emily flies most days. And on this bright young sunny morning, they are out on a sky ride. Where shall we go today, Bill? It's your turn to decide. If you don't mind, Emily, and if the choice is up to me, I'd really like to hit the beach and paddle in the sea. Oh yes, cried Emily. I would love that too. We can build a sandcastle by the edge of the ocean blue. And so in no time at all had they reached the seaside, and soon were walking on the sand, watching all the seagulls glide. Bill felt people stare at him, and then he had a thought, and soon his horn was covered up by a hat that Emily bought. Shall I turn the TV off? They all think you're a donkey now, laughed Emily with glee. As long as they don't get ideas, Bill huffed, that they can ride on me. Emily bought a bucket and spade, and in the sand she dug. When something hard her spade did hit, so she gave it a tug. A little chest came out the hole, and Emily gave a gasp. Bill, it's got pirate markings on, she said as she opened the clasp. Avast, ye scurvy knaves, a voice behind them cried. That treasure chest belongs to me, don't you dare look inside. Emily and Bill both turned around, and there stood a young boy. Who are you? I'm Pirate Pete. Oh, and P.S. Ahoy.
Go.
Ahoy back, Pete. I'm Emily, and this is my friend Bill. I've never met a pirate before, and I can't say that I'm thrilled. Well, that's not very nice, said Pete. What thoughts are in your mind that make you judge without knowing me and say things quite unkind? You've got a pirate hat, Bill said. That's why we're nervous of you. That's not a skull and crossbones sign, said Pete. It's where a seagull did a poo. Emily, she looked at Bill, and both began to laugh. Worse, said Pete. It's not just my hat. Oh, tonight I'll need a bath. Please don't take offence, said Bill, but pirates have a reputation. And you introduced yourself as Pirate Pete. That's quite a proclamation. And you wear a stripy shirt. Emily. So we can't help but wondering where your pirate ship is parked. I see where you're coming from, said Pete with a grin. But it's not the clothes you wear, you know. It's who you are within.
No.
Yeah.
No.
By the way, your hat's not straight. In fact, it's very wonky. Pete lifted it to put it right and gasped, Hey, you're not a donkey. Shh, said Emily and Bill at once. We don't want the secret out. Bill here is a unicorn, Pete. Well, the horn left me in little doubt. And then the three of them sat down on the warm and shiny sand. I think we're going to be friends, said Bill. Pete said, that sounds like a great plan. Now about this chest, said Emily. Pete sighed. I hid it deep last week, but I never made a note of where. It's been the worst game of hide and seek. Emily looked inside the chest, and there she saw a map. She pulled it out most gingerly and laid it on her lap. It says, X marks the treasure spot. She read, her voice a whisper. Extra marks for measuring dots? Poor Bill, he had misheard. Pete and Emily clutched their sides, their eyes full of laughter tears. Oh, Bill, they said, I think you've got too much sand in your ears. When their laughter had died down, Pete said, let's set off now. The map says take 10 steps to starboard and 30 steps to bow. There you'll find a sand dune with a pirate flag on top. That's your destination. That's where you must stop. They set off all together, though Bill got left behind. Because he had 4 hooves, not 2, the wrong dune did he find. Come on, Bill, it's this one, yelled Emily with glee. She pulled her little spade out and started digging furiously. I'm not keeping you up, am I?
No.
That's what I used to say when I used to do my stand-up act on stage. If sort of people were talking or mumbling, I'd say, I'm not keeping you up, am I? The other one I used to do was because if you're on stage, you can hear people at the back, you know, because of the resonation. And I'd say, I do hope that my singing isn't interrupting your interesting talking. Isn't rudely interrupting your talking. Anyway, let's get back to the plot. Where do we get to? The sand dunes soon had crumbled, and there, before them lay a voucher for 3 ice creams that was due to expire today. I'm getting all thespian-y here.
Oi.
That's my, you know who John Gilbert is, do you? No. At last I've got it back. James Mason, at last I've got it back, said Pete, pretending to be James Mason. just let's get back on track, I think. At last I've got it back, said Pete. And just in time, it seems. I was saving this for a special occasion, on a day of fulfilled dreams. Off they raced to the ice cream man. 3 of your finest ones, please, vendor. We're going to eat them on the hill as we watch the sunset splendor. Emily chose strawberry. It was her favourite flavour.
No chocolate is.
Is it?
Yeah.
But there's a certain brand of ice cream that you're eating about 3 a day of at the moment, I have to, that we can't mention because of copyright purposes. But they're strawberry flavoured, aren't they?
No?
I think they are.
The vanilla.
Are they? Well, vanilla is a constituent part of them, that is true, yeah. So, where do we get to? Emily chose strawberry. It was one of her favourite flavours. Does that work for you? But
No.
when Pete said, "And what's yours, Bill?" well, Bill began to waver. I'm really not an ice cream eater, although I'm sure they're very nice. Unless, he asked Pete hopefully, they do a grass-flavoured chalk ice? That's not in my repertoire, the ice cream seller smiled. I've never been asked for a grass ice cream, not by one single child. Try a chocolate one, Bill, Pete suggested. I'm sure it's much the same. If you insist, but if there's a consequence, it'll be me that you both blame. The 3 climbed up upon a bank and watched the sun head towards the sea. I've had the greatest day, said Pete, and both his new friends agreed. But what's that funny pong? Asked Pete. Bill dropped his eyes and sighed. Unicorns should never eat ice creams, and now you both know why. Pete and Emily glanced at him and gave his fur a stroke.
Oi.
Oh, Bill, we'll blame it on the gulls. And they all laughed at the joke. Bill looked at the sky and said, the weather's about to shift. Come on, Pete, let's get you home. We'll give you a lift. They took Pete to the hiding place where their carpets were safely laying. Well, that's not much of a taxi, said Pete, if you don't mind me saying. Here, sit on mine, said Emily, and prepare for a surprise. She rose the carpet into the air.
No.
Pete stammered, It flies. And so too does mine, said Bill, as he flew up beside them. What good is having magic carpets if you're not going to ride them? Another unicorn-related injury. Oh, A&E departments, the lands are filled with, ones of them a year. Come on, Emily, exclaimed Bill. Why don't we have a race? That's a great idea, she said, because 10 pigeons are giving chase. They hurtled in and out of the clouds, and Pete sighed excitedly. This is the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me. Through the sunset's curtain came whoops and whoops of joy from one girl and one unicorn and one very happy boy. They landed down next to Pete's house, and there they hugged goodbye. But none of them was sad at all, and I think that you know why. They'd all agreed to meet again, and every time they did, Pirate Pete would greet them saying, another treasure chest I've hid. Off they'd go out to the beach, and a new hunt did begin, which always ended up with ice creams, and in Bill's case, ended up with wind. And, you want to do the last verse?
Shut the book.
No, I haven't finished yet.
Yes, you have.
No, there's one more to go.
No.
But the children up there at the end of the swing.
I bet you.
And if you're ever sitting home wondering what to do, remember this. You never know. Bill and Emily might visit you.
Did I get the loan?
To read his book. Because if we go behind us, you can see just behind my head here. This is a book about my beautiful daughter Emily, and this here is The Amazing Smeller Man, which is a book co-authored by me and my wonderful son Dylan. But I think he's engrossed in his game at the moment, darling.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, wait, see ya.
Thank you. See ya. Incoming.
Incoming more.
Oh no.
I'm taking my phone.
Oh dear.
Incoming.
What is that one? Thank you for your patience. Help me. Call someone. So I've been Paul Murphy for many a year now, and this is the book.
You've always been Paul Murphy, though.
I have indeed.
Doesn't make sense.
Except for one evening in 1993 when I was Mrs. Elsie Sludge of 18 Knee Street, Clevedon. I won't explain why. I get to turn the cameras off.
No. No, come.
So anyway, there you go. It's available on Amazon. That's the ISBN number. Can you see the ISBN number there? Thank you for your patience. The beautiful, wonderful, amazing Emily Jade Murphy.
Yeah.